Hello and welcome. My name is Zafar Iqbal, and you're watching The Mojo Story. There was an attempt on the life of Indian born author Salman Rushdie in New York just a short while ago. He was on a stage where he was being interviewed. Just before the start of the interview, a man from the audience ran up to the stage and stabbed him multiple times. The interviewer also sustains injuries. The attacker was immediately caught and he was taken away. His identity has not been revealed. Now, Indian born author Salman Rushdie is the author of books like Midnight Children, Satanic Verses. He has been airlifted for treatment. There were visuals that were all over social media. He was being moved on a chopper, taken away for treatment. Now, Rushdie has lived with threats. He has spent years in hiding after a fatwa on him following the publication of his book, Satanic Verses. But that was in the 1980s. A lot of time has passed since. Those are the details that we have so far. He has been stabbed multiple times in the neck. The reporters on the ground at that point in time who were there reported that there was a lot of blood. There was, in fact, audiences who there was some sort of a panic after this incident happened. They were not able to understand what happened in the first place. It was thought that he's just been punched or given some blows, but later it was clear that he was actually stabbed and moved away. Now, after that, the governor of New York has spoken about the condition of Salman Rushdie. She's informed that he is alive, but he has sustained injuries and he has been moved to a hospital for treatment. This is what she had to say.
And so it is heartbreaking to learn that within the last hour, a prominent individual, Salman Rushdie, was attacked on a stage in Western New York just before he was about to give a speech. He is alive. He is been transported, airlifted to safety. But here's an individual who has spent decades speaking truth to power, someone who's been out there unafraid, fight the threats that have followed him his entire adult life, it seems. And it happened at a site that is a place that's very familiar to me, a very tranquil rural community known as Chautauqua. And thought leaders and politicians and justices and everyone come together to have the free expression of thought. So this is a place ideally suited for him to be able to speak, and that's what he was attempting to do just in the last hour before he was attacked. And I want to commend the state police. It was a state police officer who stood up and saved his life, protected him, as well as the moderator who was attacked as well. We're monitoring this situation, but he's getting the care he needs at a local hospital. I'll be giving more information on the identity of the perpetrator and the case that'll be brought in that part of the state. So I just wanted to share that with you because it hits right here. It hits all of us. But we are undeterred then. We are undeterred in our commitment to make sure that we call it out, we condemn what happened, we condemn all violence, and we want people to feel that freedom to speak and to write truth. And I'll continue to protect that every single day as my governor, as I'm your governor.
It's great to see you here. Thank you.
Giving details about the incident, what actually happened, but of course confirming that he is alive. He was being moved to a hospital for treatment on a chopper, and also commending the forces for their prompt response at that point in time. We're joined by Irfan Habib, a historian and an author at this point in time. Irfan Sahab, we know that Salman Rushdie was, slapped with a fatwa in the 80s, but a lot of time has passed. What, according to you, could be the motivation for the attacker to attack him right now when he was on the stage about to be interviewed?
First of all, I'm shocked to hear this news, as so many others, and I've always felt that a fatwa against him was absolutely inhuman, because everybody in the world has a right to say whatever he or she wants to say, and nobody has any business to take life or threaten somebody's life like that. So this has been my position always. But that fatwa actually was withdrawn by Iran a couple of years back, and it's too early to say what is the link of this person. It may be a lone wolf attack as well, because there are so many madcaps in the world who maybe felt outraged after so long, after so many decades almost, and would have done this horrible thing. But anyway, it's too early to make any statement. First of all, we need to condemn whatever has happened, because Salman Rushdie, the sort of author he has been, the sort of prolific creative writer he has been, and the sort of person who has been speaking for human rights all over the world, and has been so vocal and brave to write whatever he wants to write, need to be saved. And we all wish that he survives and he comes out victorious, despite all this cowardly thing happened to him. This is what we want at the moment.
Right. Before we go further, if we can play those visuals of that hall where the event was taking place, and the ruckus that was created, you can see from those visuals a lot of disturbance. He's being moved on a stretcher to the chopper,
Yeah,
being taken on the chopper, and then moved to the hospital for treatment. Uh, you can see from those visuals the helicopter really waiting there, and he's moved there, uh, as is clear now that he's been stabbed multiple times in the neck, uh, and
yeah,
there was a lot of blood that was lost, and
yeah.
now he's being, yeah,
It's a
it's a
serious
serious
attack.
matter.
Yeah,
It's a
serious
serious
matter.
attack. Initially, it didn't look so serious. It was presumed that it was just a perhaps a punch or a blow
I
that
think
was given to
I
him.
think there
But
is
yeah,
I
yes,
think there is
yes,
some
Irfan sir.
I think there is some security lapse as well. I mean, something like this happening
Yes,
in New York, and somebody like him going to speak. And it's an irony that he was. I'm told that he was going to speak on a subject like America being a safe haven for people who write. He was some.
exactly,
He
and
was
that
so,
that's what I wanted to ask
yeah,
you.
yeah,
You know, that he was about to speak on
yeah.
the freedom of expression
It's freedom of
in
expression. So
America. So it's rather
it's
ironical.
really ironical that something like this happens at this moment. And so there is a security lapse, because somebody getting up, going up all the way to the stage, and nobody even noticing him, or till he reaches and starts punching and stabbing. So this is something really amazing, because it shouldn't have happened.
Yes,
Because
obviously there is a security lapse because the man was obviously carrying a knife or some
yeah, right,
sharp-edged
yeah.
weapon with which he attacked Salman Rushdie. So clearly, those are the
And
questions that will be asked
another
in the course of time.
surprising thing is that in America, where guns are available everywhere, why this man decided to go with a knife if he had wanted to kill him. I don't know what was the intention. Because,
Yeah, again, if you can see from those pictures, it's a very small video, but you can
yeah,
see the situation at that point in time. This man really ran towards the stage
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
attacked him,
absolutely.
and also the interviewer who has been injured in the head,
He
but
has been
who said
injured. Yes,
he said to be stable. But Salman Rushdie was given multiple blows. He's been stabbed multiple times, and
awful,
he
really.
sustained those injuries. So clearly, that's a security lapse. So on one hand, the governor of New York clearly commending the security forces and the police at that point in time for promptly taking action and moving him towards safety and to hospital. But at the same time, the questions about security lapse will obviously come up
Yeah,
in
because
the course of time.
no, they have done whatever they had to do later on, but why
Yeah.
all this had to happen? But it shouldn't have happened at all. because Salman Rushdie is one of those people who are the most vulnerable people among writers in the world today. And
And
so
he
there is
was
absolutely
obviously the even if the fatwa was taken away a couple of years ago by
yeah.
Iran, but the
Despite
threat was
that,
always there.
yeah,
The threat
of
was
course,
always
that
there.
was always there, always there. Well, we had problems in India when he was invited to JLF, Jaipur Literature Festival. He couldn't
Yeah,
come because there was protests outside, and I was there in Jaipur
yeah.
at that time. And so there are issues with him always. So I think we need to be more careful, and Americans
You
needed to be
raised
more careful.
you raised the event Jaipur Literary Festival that was some
Yeah,
years
yeah,
ago, but even at the time when this fatwa came, satanic verses was also banned in India.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It was banned in India. It was banned in India, which was actually uh, sad. India was one of the first countries to do it, and obviously they did it to satisfy a section of our population. And we know our late Professor Mushirul Hasan was attacked by people in the university because he wrote something in favor of some satanic verses, not in favor of Salman Rushdie and his right to write what he wants to write. He didn't even commend satanic verses; he just defended him as a writer. But despite that, he was attacked in the university, in his office. So we went through all this, and then Rushdie came to India a couple of years ago and I met him there. Uh, so he did come.
Right.
Yeah,
But what is the larger message? You know that he was in America uh, speaking at an event where he was to talk about the freedom of expression, uh, and this incident happening. The larger message to the literary circles. He's a world
yeah.
renowned
See,
author. To
the
people,
message
to
is
people, to people in the literary circles across the globe.
see what message is that you need to continue writing. You can't people can't subdue. We
Yeah.
can't suppress people's voices.
Yeah.
One need to fight. One need to be brave, and one need to say what one wants to say. And
Mm.
because these are very cowardly things which happen.
Yes.
And so if you want to question somebody, you just write a book in response to it if you are capable of it. No, and I've always said it in other contexts also. Make a film to counter a film. Write a book to counter a book. Write an article to counter an article. Because that is the only way, a civil way to contest somebody's viewpoint. You cannot eliminate someone from this world. That is not the way. That is not the civil way to do it. No, so this has been an issue which because people's sensibilities. We all talk about sensibilities. Sensibilities
Right.
should not be hurt this way. How can somebody's sensibilities be so weak that they get hurt? The faith gets hurt so soon. No, your faith should be strong if you are a believer, and
Right.
stay strong wherever you are, a Muslim, a Hindu, or a Christian. No, why should your faith be hurt by somebody's writing or statement or film or whatever it is? So these are not very civil ways to engage in a civil society,
Right.
and this has been my position always. And this is how any person in this modern world, a world which is porous, which is open, where ideas flow from across the world, and there is no restriction on ideas, and there are so several channels of communicating with each other. It's not just a print world. There are so many ways to communicate. So in this sort of world, there are people who misuse it every day, but there are lots of people who are using it very creatively.
Right.
So
But
you
but
cannot
but but
stop.
but we still don't know much about the attacker. His identity has not
Yeah,
been
absolutely,
revealed,
absolutely. It's
as
too
you
early
put it.
to
He could be a lone wolf, and what
absolutely,
exactly were his motives? Are the two things connected, or they are not
absolutely,
connected?
yeah,
It's still not
absolutely.
clear.
It will come out.
These
It's too
these
soon
are
to say
just
anything.
these are just
Conjectures.
conjectures that we are trying to draw. But before we wrap up our show, I would want my producer again to use the sound bite of the governor, where she's telling that he's alive and he's moved to hospital for treatment. If you can again use that sound bite.
Last hour, a prominent individual, Salman Rushdie, was attacked on a stage in Western New York just before he was about to give a speech. He is alive. He is been transported, airlifted to safety. But here's an individual who has spent decades speaking truth to power, someone who's been out there despite the threats that have followed him his entire adult life, it seems. And it happened at a site that is a place that's very familiar to me, a very tranquil rural community known as Chautauqua Institution, where the most preeminent speakers and thought leaders and politicians and justices and everyone come together to have the free expression of thought. So this is a place ideally suited for him to be able to speak, and that's what he was attempting to do just in the last hour before he was attacked. And I want to commend the state police. It was a state police officer who stood up and saved his life, protected him.
Okay, that was the governor of New York, obviously giving details about the incident and clarifying certain things, that he's alive and he's moved to safety, and it was a security official who promptly swung into action and moved him away from that place. But those are the details that we know. Obviously, it's a matter of investigation. But for now, the news is that author Salman Rushdie has been attacked in New York in an event where he was about to give an interview. A person from the audience ran towards the stage and stabbed him multiple times in the neck. He was moved to hospital in an injured condition. The interviewer is also hurt in that attack. The attacker has been taken away. He has been apprehended. His identity has not been revealed. But those are the details for now. The news is that Salman Rushdie, the Indian-born author, has been attacked by a person who was wielding a knife or a sharp-edged weapon in New York at a time when he was about to be interviewed. Irfan Saab, thanks so much
Yeah.
for
Thank
joining
you so
us.
much. Thank you.
That's
Thank
all
you. And
we have in
we
today's
all
show. Uh,
we all wish and pray that he comes out victorious
yeah.
after this attack. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. That's
Thank you
all
so
we
much.
have
Thank
in
you so
today's
much.
show. Thanks for joining.
Good night.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.